Welcome to today's true crime story. It was a cold January afternoon in Baltimore, 1999. The school day had ended, and a bright, talented young woman climbed into her car, ready to pick up her cousin before heading to work. But somewhere between the classroom and her evening shift, she disappeared. Hours passed, and she never made it home. Days turned into weeks, and the community's concern slowly shifted into fear. Whispers began to spread, whispers about love, jealousy, and secrets no one wanted to believe. And when the truth finally surfaced, it ignited one of the most debated cases in modern American true crime. If you're a fan of true crime and criminal investigations, like, subscribe, share this video. You'll find the link in the video description and pinned comment. Now let's dive into today's case. Hae Min Lee was born on October 15, 1980 in South Korea. Her childhood was shaped by her mother, Jong Kim, who raised Hae Min and her younger brother with determination and care. In 1992, when Hae Min was just 11, the family made a life-changing decision. They left South Korea and moved to the United States, settling in Maryland with her grandparents. From the start, Hae Min stood out. She excelled academically and athletically. She joined an advance program for high-achieving students near Baltimore, thriving both in the classroom and on the field. She became a talented athlete, playing lacrosse and hockey with passion. By her teenage years, she had earned a reputation as bright, mature, and independent. At 17, she even worked part-time at an optician's office, balancing school, sports, and responsibilities with impressive discipline. In April 1998, Hae Min began dating a classmate, Adnan Syed. Born in the U.S. to conservative Pakistani Muslim parents, Adnan lived under rules that forbade dating, alcohol, and drugs, rules he often broke in secret. On the surface, he appeared to be the model American teenager, well-liked, a football player, part of the track team, and trained as an EMT. He'd even been elected prom prince, known for his charm and friendly personality. Their relationship unfolded like many high school romances, sweet gestures, emotional highs, breakups, and reconciliations. Hae Min wrote about Adnan in her diary, calling him sweet and caring, remembering moments like when he surprised her with a rose during class. But religion soon cast a heavy shadow over their relationship. Adnan confessed that loving her felt like a sin. That conflict came crashing down on Halloween night when his parents discovered the relationship and reacted publicly. Hae Min ended things the next day. Still, within weeks, they found their way back to each other. By November, they were dating again, and Hae Min admitted in her diary that she still loved him. Adnan visited her often at the optician's office, but things began to shift by December. Hae Min developed feelings for a co-worker, 22-year-old Don Clindenst. Don's mother managed the optical shop, and he was mature, supportive, and kind. He admired Hae Min's confidence, and she felt drawn to him in ways she hadn't experienced before. In her writings, she admitted feeling torn between the two men. Adnan knew about her doubts, and the weight of cultural and religious differences only intensified her struggle. Hae Min wanted a relationship where she could be her true self, openly accepted by her partner's family with no secrecy or shame. She had never told her own family about Adnan, and over time she felt she was losing part of who she was. By mid-December, she ended him with Adnan for good. Soon after, she began dating Don, who offered the openness and stability she longed for. With her senior year ahead of her, a promising new romance, and outstanding academic achievements, Hae Min seemed headed toward a bright future. But only weeks later, everything would change. On January 13, 1999, Hae Min was seen leaving school around 2:25 p.m. She got into her car, planning to pick up her younger cousin from daycare by 3:15 before going to work. It was an ordinary routine, one she had followed countless times, but this time she never made it. She vanished without a trace. For a girl as responsible as Hae Min, disappearing like this was unthinkable. Her family immediately knew something was wrong and contacted the police. That evening, around 6:30, investigators reached out to Adnan. He told them the last time he had seen her was earlier at school. They also questioned Don, who said he had been at work from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and hadn't seen her that day. Authorities grew deeply concerned. Hae Min had no history of family conflict, no reason to run away, and no signs of trouble. Her sudden disappearance was alarming. More than alarming, it was the beginning of a mystery that would shake her community and haunt everyone who knew her.
Then, nearly 4 weeks after her disappearance, on February 9, a shocking call came into the police. A resident reported finding what appeared to be a human foot partially buried in a shallow grave. Authorities rushed to the scene. Deep inside the vast forest park where the discovery was made, officers uncovered a body. The location already carried a grim history. This wasn't the first time someone had been buried there. Soon, investigators confirmed what Hae Min's family had feared most. It was her, just 18 years old. The autopsy revealed that she had been killed by manual strangulation, a detail that made the tragedy even more devastating. News of her death spread quickly, and the community united in grief. Vigils were held, and tributes poured in for a young woman whose life had ended far too soon. Police first questioned the man who had found the body. He explained that he had pulled over after drinking a beer while driving, stepped into the woods to relieve himself, and stumbled upon the horrific sight. His story was checked thoroughly, but nothing suspicious surfaced. Investigators then turned to Don, Hae Min's new boyfriend. His work records showed he had been on the job from morning until evening that day. Again, nothing suspicious was found. Just as the investigation seemed to stall, an anonymous phone call changed everything. On the other end of the line, the caller gave police a name, Adnan. The tipster claimed he was responsible, and even said he had threatened Hae Min's life before. Detectives began reconstructing the couple's relationship. Friends described a complicated dynamic. Some said Adnan sometimes felt Hae Min didn't love him enough. Others recalled that Hae Min found him controlling and disliked being told what to do. Her independent nature clashed with his expectations. Stephanie, a close friend, revealed that Adnan had not expected Hae Min to leave him for someone else. In her diary, Hae Min admitted that the breakup had been difficult for him to accept. She questioned how her feelings could change so suddenly, a thought many teenagers experience. But other friends noticed a darker turn. One described Adnan as jealous and paranoid by early December, frequently asking if she was being unfaithful. Then came a discovery that deeply concerned investigators. Among Hae Min's belongings, they found a note in which Adnan threatened to kill her. It matched what the anonymous tipster had said. Still, contradictions emerged. Around the holidays, Adnan and Hae Min had exchanged Christmas gifts and even helped each other when their cars broke down, gestures suggesting they were on friendly terms. To detectives, this raised the possibility that Adnan believed they would eventually reconcile, as they had before. But by New Year's Day, Hae Min was moving on. She had gone on her first official date with Don. For Adnan, the reality of her new relationship may not have become clear until January 5th, when detectives believe he first learned about Don. To understand more, investigators pulled his phone records and examined who he had spoken to that day. One name stood out: Jennifer. At first, her account seemed ordinary, but the next day, she returned to the station with a lawyer, and her story changed dramatically. Jennifer claimed that Adnan spent the day of the disappearance with his friend, Jay, and she went further, saying that Jay had confided in her, telling her that Adnan had killed Hae Min. This revelation gave detectives a new lead.
They brought Jay in for questioning. During interviews, he said that Adnan had indeed talked about killing Hae Min, especially after learning about Don. He described Adnan as someone unaccustomed to losing, and while he hadn't taken the comments seriously at the time, detectives believed they hinted at a dangerous mindset. The pressure on Adnan grew even stronger when investigators learned of a detail that may have fueled his anger. On January 9th, just days before her death, Hae Min had updated her social media profile, publicly declaring Don as the new love of her life. Then, on January 12th, just one day before the crime, Adnan obtained a brand new cell phone. The contract wasn't even in his own name, but in the name of a friend from the mosque. That night, he made several calls, supposedly to share his new number. Among those calls were multiple attempts to reach Hae Min. To investigators, it was one more piece in an increasingly troubling puzzle. On February 28, 1999, 6 weeks after Hae Min disappeared, police arrested Adnan. At the press briefing, authorities outlined his relationship with Hae Min and suggested a motive rooted in overwhelming, fatal attraction. The arrest sent shockwaves through Baltimore's Muslim community. Many who knew Adnan insisted it was impossible. To them, he had always been a kind, respectful young man, deeply committed to his faith, with no ties to violence or crime. Some believed police, under intense pressure to find a suspect, had targeted the wrong person. Hae Min's family, however, had no such doubts. Her mother, devastated by the loss, wanted justice, and she believed only a harsh sentence for Adnan would bring it. Adnan, for his part, maintained his innocence. He claimed that on the afternoon Hae Min disappeared, he had been at the library with a girl named Asia McLean. He insisted he never would have harmed Hae Min, saying he still loved and respected her. When detectives pressed him about the calls the night before, Adnan claimed Hae Min had called him, asking for reconciliation. But investigators found that difficult to believe. Hae Min couldn't have known his new number so quickly. She wrote it in her diary only after the call. And her final diary entry, written after spending the entire day with Don, declared how much she loved her new boyfriend. To detectives, reconciliation seemed unlikely. Eventually, Adnan was formally charged with first-degree murder. In March, the case took another dramatic turn when Jay was brought in again. This time, his story went even further. He claimed that Adnan had confessed to the killing and that he himself had helped bury Hae Min's body. According to Jay, Adnan called him after the crime, picked him up, and showed him Hae Min's body in the trunk of his car. Then, in a shocking development, Jay led detectives to a crucial piece of evidence, the location of Hae Min's missing car. For prosecutors, this gave the investigation new credibility. When the trial began in early 2000, the prosecution built its case on two pillars: the cell phone tower records which placed Adnan's phone near the Forest Park that night, and Jay's testimony. But Jay's story was not perfectly consistent. While the core claims stayed the same, he shifted key timelines, changing the hour Adnan supposedly called him and the moment he said he saw Hae Min's body. The defense used these inconsistencies to argue that Jay's account couldn't be trusted. Beyond that, there was no physical evidence linking Adnan to the crime. His fingerprints and DNA were not found in Hae Min's car. Asia McLean was willing to testify as an alibi witness, but for reasons still unclear, the defense never called her to the stand. After 6 weeks of testimony, on February 20, the verdict was read. Adnan was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison plus more than 30 additional years.
A month later, Jay pleaded guilty to being an accessory and received 2 years of probation. The following year, Adnan's defense filed an appeal, arguing, among other things, that failing to call Asia as a witness had severely weakened his case. But the appeal was denied, and the conviction stood. As the years passed, Hae Min's case refused to fade. It drew international attention, and soon independent journalists and private investigators began re-examining the evidence. Their work sparked new theories, some suggesting Adnan might not have been the killer after all. But if not him, then who? One of the most debated possibilities pointed directly at Jay. Some argued he had killed Hae Min himself and then framed Adnan to deflect suspicion.
The theories varied. One version claimed Hae Min had threatened to report Jay for selling drugs. Another suggested she had caught him cheating on Stephanie. Either scenario, supporters argued, might have pushed Jay to silence her for good. But the theory quickly fell apart. There was no solid evidence, and Hae Min never wrote anything in her diary that hinted at such a discovery. In reality, she wasn't close to Jay at all, making it unlikely she would have met with him alone in a situation where he could harm her. Another twist proposed that Jay and Jennifer acted together, eliminating Hae Min and framing Adnan. This idea speculated that Jay and Jennifer were secretly involved and Hae Min had stumbled upon their affair. But again, the same weaknesses remained. Neither had any real connection to Hae Min, and there was no believable way they could have lured her into a private meeting. Worse, there was zero physical evidence supporting any of it. Attention then shifted to Don, Hae Min's boyfriend at the time. His alibi, which first appeared solid, soon raised questions. His work schedule had been confirmed by his own mother, who managed the optical shop. Later, people noticed that the employee number on the log sheet didn't match his. Adding to suspicions, police couldn't reach Don until 1 a.m. after Hae Min disappeared. Though he claimed he got home around 7, he never followed up with investigators as he had promised. Another name surfaced, the man who discovered Hae Min's body. His story never changed. He had pulled over after drinking a beer and stumbled upon the shallow grave. Later reports revealed a criminal history, but it involved compulsive exhibitionism, not violence. He took 2 polygraph tests, failing the first, passing the second. Experts noted that nervousness alone could explain the results, and more importantly, it made no sense for a killer to lead police straight to the victim's body. Without a motive, that theory collapsed too. Meanwhile, online forums and true crime communities fueled new speculation. Users compared Hae Min's case to other unsolved murders from the same period, suggesting a possible serial offender. Investigators dismissed these claims after finding no evidence connecting those cases to Hae Min. In the end, despite all the theories, detectives and prosecutors landed on the same conclusion: Adnan. He was the one with motive, means, and opportunity. Years later, the legal fight returned. In 2012, Adnan once again tried to overturn his conviction, but his appeal was denied the following year. Then, in 2015, the Court of Special Appeals of Maryland paused the proceedings and sent the case back to Circuit Court. The new question was critical: should Asia McLean's testimony finally be heard? By November, the higher court agreed to reopen the case. Throughout the lengthy legal battle, one factor became crucial: the independent investigations by journalists and private researchers. They highlighted inconsistencies and questioned key pieces of evidence. Central to this was Asia McLean's testimony and doubts about the reliability of the cell phone tower data used in the original trial. According to the defense, the incoming call records should never have reached the jury. In November 2015, a judge agreed to reopen the case in the interest of justice. From February 3rd to 9th, 2016, a new hearing captured national attention.
Asia testified under oath that she spoke with Adnan in the library on January 13, 1999, the very day Hae Min disappeared. On June 13, 2016, the judge granted Adnan a new trial, ruling that his defense had failed to properly challenge the cell phone data. Later that year, his attorneys sought his release on bail, but the request was denied on December 29th. 2 years later, Maryland's Court of Special Appeals reviewed the case again, but in 2019, the Court of Appeals reversed the earlier decision, blocking the new trial. To Hae Min's family, it confirmed that justice had been served and they were ready to move forward. Then came a turning point. In 2021, a new state law allowed people convicted as minors who had served more than 20 years to petition for relief. In 2022, a Baltimore court reopened the case once again, citing serious concerns about the effectiveness of Adnan's original defense. As a result, he was released while the legal process continued. By September 2023, Adnan held a press conference. Standing before reporters, he again declared his innocence, this time with a detailed slideshow accusing the prosecution of misconduct, including failing to disclose information about alternative suspects. He also spoke about the toll the case had taken on his family. Finally, in March 2025, a Baltimore judge issued a dramatic ruling. Adnan's conviction would stand, but his sentence was modified. Having already served more than enough time, he was granted 5 years of parole. Technically still guilty, he would not return to prison. Both sides agreed he no longer posed a danger to society. Now, more than 2 decades later, the case of Hae Min Lee and Adnan Syed remains one of the most debated in true crime history. Was justice served, or did errors and omissions alter the outcome? Did Adnan commit the crime, or was he a victim of a flawed system? The questions remain, and the final answer may never come. Thank you for watching Real Crimes. Like and subscribe to the channel. Until the next episode, I'd like you to stay tuned and stay vigilant.